Number 16 on your practice test is a subtraction problem. We have two fractions. We have 3 minus x plus, or 3 over x plus 7 is our f of x, and our g of x is 1 over x. And we're going to be subtracting. So in order to add or subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator. And our common denominator is going to be both of our denominators multiplied together. What we do is we multiply the first fraction by the second fraction's denominator. We multiply the second fraction by the first fraction's denominator. And we do these in a fancy form of 1. So we have something that ends up looking like this. So we're going to multiply our first fraction by our second fraction's denominator. Our second fraction's denominator is x. But in order to not change the value of this, we're just simplifying. We have to multiply by x over x, because that's the same as multiplying by 1. We can always multiply by 1 legally. So we do that to our first fraction. To our second fraction, we multiply by the first fraction's denominator. The first fraction's denominator was x plus 7. Again, we need to do fancy form of 1. Parentheses are helpful here. Just to make sure you do legal algebra. For this first fraction, when we multiply x times 3, we get 3x. You never need to multiply out the denominator for me. If you leave the denominator as it is, it makes it easier to do domain, so I don't have a problem with you just leaving it multiplied out. For our second part here, we have -1 that we're multiplying through. So I suggest you not leave that negative there, that you take it with a 1. So -1 times x is -x. -1 times 7 is -7. And we're over that same denominator. So really, you can write this as 1 fraction now. And a lot of times I just write it as 1 fraction from the beginning. So we have 3x minus x minus 7. We have our common denominator. We don't multiply our denominators together here. We make the common denominator, so we only have to write it once. And then we can combine like terms on the top of our fraction. 3x minus x is 2x. And that's your final answer. If you're asked for domain on this, you just want to set your denominator equal to 0. For domain, you'd have x cannot equal 0, and you'd have x cannot equal -7, because that's what would make your denominator 0, and thus your function undefined. The most important thing here is just finding the common denominator and distributing that negative through everything that you're doing there. Those are the two most important things.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.